After today, the ultimate. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers. Woo. Welcome to this week's edition of NBA Happy Hour, where we're going to talk about probably the second greatest Olympic game of all time. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I think that's fair. Part of the Riverfront Media Network, brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I'm Tim Daniel. He's Sean Mackey. Filling in for Parker Fields this week is Kevin Blanch, because there's only one person in the world I think that can rival me in fandom of Team USA basketball, and it's Kevin. And we're just going to get into it. Holy crap. What? Okay, I started the show with it. I think the only game in Olympic history you can say is better than this one is the 2008 gold medal game between USA and Spain. I think it's the only one that's atop this, because today was unbelievable. So many moments, so much history. We're going to talk deep dive into quite a bit. And legacy building games for some people. For Kevin Durant, it's adding to his legacy, becoming the greatest Olympian basketball player in U.S. history. For Steph Curry, who is playing in his first Olympics, we've been waiting for that Steph Curry game in the Olympics, and he's now second all-time single game scoring. For LeBron, it's his second triple-double in Olympic history. There's 4 of them all time. He has 2 of them. For Joel Embiid, it's, man, are you ever going to fit in with this team? And you fit in perfectly today. Offensively, you were great. You're hitting threes. And for Steve Kerr, it was, thank God I do not have to face the country after losing that game. There is so much to dive into and so much to talk about. Man, first things first, I'm very happy they won, but hats off to Serbia on the scariest competition I think I've ever seen U.S. have an Olympic game, including Spain. I always thought they were going to beat Spain in that 08 game. Spain just gave them a run for their money. This was, going to the fourth quarter up double digits and needing Kevin Durant and Steph Curry to take over. That's pretty incredible. But, dude, just so many moments here and there and here and there. And Kevin, since you are here joining us today, first thing you think of when you look back at this game, because I don't think I'm ever going to forget this game. I think this is a game that I will always remember.
I couldn't agree more, Tim. Trying to not be a prisoner of the moment, but I think it's one of my favorite basketball games I've ever seen. Literally top 10, top 5, maybe. So the 2 things I will think of, and this is kind of starting at the end and working our way backwards. The sequence with between the 2-minute and 1-minute mark, where Curry hit the 3 to finally put them up, and then they get to the steal or long rebound, and LeBron has that flying in lab where he jumped from halfway down the lane on the right side and somehow finished on the left side at 80 years old. I don't know. And I just remember watching that happen, and there was a timeout right after that, and I'm just I was just smiling because it's surreal to me. These are the guys. These are my guys. These are our guys that But the formative years I loved basketball the most was becoming an adult and everything, and those 2 with Durant, and then the other thing kind of along the same lines, the reaction after the game, those guys, they're showing the camera LeBron, then Steph, then Durant, and just almost more joyous than I've ever seen or just about ever seen them. And those guys have won championships, and how pumped up they were. It was just, that's my lasting memory.
Man, there's just so many. Yeah, what you're saying is absolutely right. That moment at the end where you see LeBron and Curry kind of hug each other, and they're chest to chest, and they're in the moment, and they're really just feeling it. It's dude, this is so cool.
What a moment for 2 guys that have just went at it against each other for the last 10 years too.
Yeah.
What a crazy full circle moment. And the fact that Steph has never been, on an Olympic team is just baffling to me. It's just baffling at this point. What a moment.
He's going to be amongst the best one and dones of Team USA with Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
It's going to be they're probably the 2 guys. They're probably the 2 guys that are the best one and dones. Because JaVale McGee's a one and done. I don't think we're going to be talking about him in history of the Olympics. But also, I think that kind of going through, there's just a couple of things that really jump out when I look at the first thing is, so they're down the first quarter, obviously Serbia comes out, but the way Curry's scoring, you kind of feel okay. You're like, all right, well, they've had these first quarters quite a bit, especially after the Puerto Rico game. I think they're down 8 after the first quarter, and then second quarter on, they just went nuts. Middle of the second quarter, when Serbia gets up 16, 18 points, and Bogdanovic does the 3 to the dome and looks like Carmelo Anthony, and LeBron got pissed, I went, we're going to be fine. I was like, you poked the bear. And they come out of that timeout, and immediately he has a layup, and then he takes Jokic on defense. I was like, all right, cool. Embiid's dunk on Jokic, where he fakes the jump shot and just dives into the rim and just throws it down, was awesome, considering that's all he's ever had to hear was you're the second, third best player behind Jokic, behind Giannis, and he got to kind of have his moment and beat Jokic in the world games instead of just the NBA games. Dude, just so awesome. But I still look at this, when I look at it, like, there's so many different things. And I went through every emotion through this game. I kid you not, man. Like, just as a sports fan, like, I felt like I do on Sundays when I watch the Bengals play the Steelers. I was like, I was on that wave of like, yeah, just going through it all. But also it's kind of awesome that they beat Jokic. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, like I kind of want to do how you started out, Tim. Go back and talk about Serbia for a minute, because I might be in the minority. I don't think the U.S. is playing awful. I think Serbia is playing out of their mind, like the first 3 quarters. They were hitting everything, and Jokic, just talking about him, like it was amazing the game he played. Because he is amazing. The U.S. literally brought every one of their best guys to throw at him one by one, and he still kind of I wouldn't say dominated, but controlled a good portion of that game, even with all of our best taking turns at him. I mean, the reason Serbia was winning because of their 3-point shooting, but Jokic had can't remember, but definitely double-digit assists. A lot of it was like running through him and then getting a guy open for a 3, and he was just amazing. Bogdanovic has long been one of my favorite. Like, I just think that guy's underrated. Like, I love him, and I almost like I'll root for Serbia in the bronze medal game, because like that guy, he was so mad, not like upset or not like thought they got screwed, but you could tell he was just fuming. He's like, it was right there, we had it.
Yeah.
And that Serbia team was awesome. And the one other thing, I heard a quick interview with Richard Jefferson after the game. He said something I thought is really, really smart. I haven't thought of before, but he's like, all those guys on Serbia and some of the other countries that aren't in the NBA, they have NBA level talent. Their game just doesn't translate to the NBA. Like, the NBA is all about athleticism, finding a 3-and-D type role. And if they're just different kind of players in the NBA game, they can thrive in Europe and thrive in international competition. So like, I think there's a talent gap, but it's probably not as big as some people think.
I'm with you. I think that in that sense too, because this is what you see in every Olympics, right? You see some international guy who just goes insane. He's like, if he's in the NBA, he's the 9th guy on a team on the bench, or he's a guy who was there for a year or 2 and then moved on. Like, if you look on the side of France, Gerson Yabusele, I mean, we remember he played for the Celtics, but like casual NBA fans couldn't point him out of a police line. But, and he's probably rivaling LeBron for the player of the tournament right now. So that's kind of always how it goes. And I say this about the G League all the time too. Like, the G League is just, there's not enough roster spots in the NBA because those dudes can freaking play. And I think that this goes right along with that as well. Yeah, so hats off to Serbia for an awesome game. I think they'll beat Germany. I really do, in the bronze game. I'm just not going to get up at 5 a.m. to watch it.
Oh, why not? I mean, who wouldn't get up at 5 a.m. to give Dennis Schroeder the business?
Dude, he's international Iverson. That's
I was
Tim's
gonna say, yeah, it's true.
No, but like the other thing, and there's actually some, like, I guess maybe critical stuff I would talk about Team USA, but we'll keep it positive first. Like, Steph, it was awesome to see Steph. I said in the group chat on Slack, like, I still think Steph getting hot is one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting.
Fun.
It's so fun. And when he got hot right out of the gate, and honestly, like, he hit a couple big shots in the fourth quarter, but it was really him, the only one that kept them within even striking distance his first 3 quarters. And so, as awesome as he was, like, I think it was more Durant and LeBron that hit some of the bigger shots, and Embiid hit some big shots, although I'm not as high on Embiid's performance today as others, but he couldn't grab a defensive rebound against a guy no one in the world has ever heard of, and almost cost the game. But no, Steph in that first quarter especially, gosh, that was just so much fun. It's so fun when he gets that hot.
There's nothing like it, man. It's like, like when because you're right. He had 17 of the team's 23 points in the first quarter. And mind you, he did not play the whole first quarter either. He got subbed out with about 4 minutes to go in the quarter. That's pretty incredible. Carmelo Anthony sitting courtside was pretty awesome. Watching this, so kind of seeing, so like you see when Durant has the ISO at the end of the game to take the lead, you see Carmelo Anthony stand up, like basically saying, like, "Cook him, cook this guy!" Like that he does it, and that was pretty awesome. I thought that was just like such a cool thing. So yeah, we'll kind of go through. You mentioned they have the first quarter. They're up. Serbia's up 8, and it's kind of like you said, USA is playing really well. Serbia is just not missing. I think there were 7 of their first 11 from 3. So you're like, oh, okay, we're gonna have one of these games. Second quarter, I'm still kind of like optimistic, but Serbia with their like double screens, their guys are getting to the top of the key. Bogdanovic is hitting threes, and you're like, okay, like they're just not going to miss apparently. So we're going to have to figure out a way. USA cuts it down to about 10 at around halftime. That's when LeBron kind of gets like pissed off and is like, all right, you poked the bear, and he kind of gets the back in the game. Third quarter, they get down 6, and it's like, okay, here we go. We're clicking. We're going in gear. We're going in gear now. And I'm sitting there at halftime like, okay, give Jason Tatum a shot. Like, what are we doing? And sure enough, he doesn't play. And then, yeah, fourth quarter, when you right when Steve Kerr finally gives up this hockey line change, and he's like, Durant, LeBron, Curry, you guys are on the court together. Booker's there too, and Embiid. Let's go win this effing thing. And it was the best decision he made the whole day, because the hockey substitution thing wasn't working this game. The whole like these 5 play with these 5, and they switch out. It just wasn't successful, and you could tell. So when he switched to that, I think I was telling Sean before we started recording, there was like a couple times where I was like, okay, we're gonna be fine, and then I went back to, oh no, we're in trouble. Like I mentioned, when Bogdanovic did the 3 to the dome and mocked Melo, and then LeBron got pissed, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be okay. And then I was like, oh, maybe we're not gonna be okay. So in the fourth quarter, they kind of start putting a little bit together. They start putting a little bit of run. They get down 8. No, they're down 11. Sorry. And did I have that right? They're down 12. They're down 11. Okay. I'm back. So Jokic tries to go like defend Durant, runs Davis into Durant, and Durant hits the 3. They call the foul on Jokic, their 4th foul, and that makes
play the game.
Yeah, that makes it an 8-point game. And because of the foul and the made basket, they give the U.S. the ball back. And
was that the right call? Because that's not the call in the NBA. The NBA, they would almost count it. They would count that as a foul on the shot, and they'd get 1 free throw. I'm like,
yeah.
So I could be wrong.
What happened here? What happened?
So Durant hit a 3 as he was shooting the 3. Jokic like ran over Anthony Davis, so they called a foul like simultaneously with the 3. So normally in the NBA, like they would just give 1 free throw like it was a foul on the shot. And then, but in this, they gave us side out of bounds. We ran an out of bounds play that Booker hit a 3 immediately. So he literally scored 6 points in like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Of game. And
Sean got kicked, so I don't know where he went, but
it's all good. But yeah, no, that was the sequence of the game for sure, because that allowed them to get back in it. And I think it was right around there, or maybe just before that Serbia had a wide open 3 they missed that would have put them up like close to 15 again, and they miss, and then the U.S. gets a 6-point possession, and then it's game on basically.
Yeah, that makes the game for sure. I thought there I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna be fine, and then so Curry they're going back and forth a little bit. Curry ties the game up with that 3, and I was like, oh, okay, we're in business now. So that's when the run you talked about. LeBron has the layup, but Durant gets that ISO where he hits the basket, and it was kind of like the feeling that popped in my head was that press conference he does when he's with the Warriors, and he goes, "I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am." And so I actually text Sean after Durant hits that shot. I was like, "I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am." And yeah, dude. So, and then they Serbia keeps it interesting still. It's only a 4-point game at this point. Mm-hmm. And then they come down, they hit the basket. And at this point, it's like, I thought Serbia kind of made a dumb decision at the end. So it was about 22 seconds left. They're still tied on the shot clock. And they wait till the shot clock runs down to foul Curry. It's a 2-point game. And they literally gave the US 12 seconds with Curry with the ball in his hands, and then fouled to put him at the line. And that basically kind of put them in for it. But I had no idea what Serbia was thinking there, because that's kind of your chance that, this is typical NBA here at the end of the game, right? It's foul, get as many possessions as you possibly can with as much time as possible. And they basically just let the U.S. walk away with that one, because they just let Curry dribble the ball around and move around, and they just didn't put him. I get why they didn't want to put him in the line because of how he was shooting, but that was pretty awesome. Other underrated play I want to mention. So Durant misses that 3 in the third quarter, and Davis gets that putback from behind where he puts it down 8. That was pretty incredible. Dude, just an awesome game. Just an unreal game. I'm stoked. I can't believe it. This is just one of those ones I'll never forget. Man. It's just every single thing that happened in this game. I hope there is, in fact, the rumors have been there is a company walking around filming them. This is going to be a doc in a couple of years. I hope that's true.
Oh, really?
I want to see.
I absolutely, yeah. They have cameras following them around there. Apparently, every Olympian does. They're making a documentary about every Olympian this year. This is what I heard.
Oh man, do you think that they see Noah?
Sean, what did you think? I know Tim and I or Dominic. What were your thoughts on? During the game, after the game.
Oh, you mean the game that was on while I was at work? I didn't watch it. That's why I'm asking all these questions. All I've seen is a couple of snapshots from the game. I was telling him I barely saw any highlights even show up on my Twitter feed. I'm like, where's all the Olympic stuff?
I highly suggest going back and watching the 5-minute condensed game on Peacock or something, because
all right,
you'll be able to catch. Sure. Yeah, you'll catch everything you need to know in there. But I thought it was really funny that Draymond Green was live tweeting the game and was even criticizing Steve Kerr for some of the decisions he made. Draymond Green literally goes, "It's time to stop this rotation thing." And look, they stopped the rotation thing and it worked. I have to go ahead and I got to give flowers before we talk about some negatives. I have to go ahead and give flowers to Devin Booker. I was very wrong, Sean. I criticized him very early in the exhibition.
Well, but here's the thing with Devin Booker. Devin Booker is that guy who he's hot or he's not.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always the knock against him. He's hot or he's not. And when he's really on, he's really, really, really on. And he's one of the best players in the NBA. So, it doesn't surprise me that, he's up and down here.
Yeah. It's, but really, since the exhibition, since the tournament started, he's been awesome. One, he's playing defense. Didn't know he had that.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. 2, dude, he hits huge shots every game. He hits some shot that they really need every single game. He might be the leader of the team in 28 in LA. He might be the vet on that team, because if he does play, that'll be his 3rd Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. If he comes back, I don't know. If I was an NBA player, especially, you had a long season. Like, let's say you were someone who was like, we'll just say Derek White right now. We'll just say him, like somebody who makes it to the NBA finals and, he's going on. I mean, that's a long ass basketball year for him.
It is.
It's a long ass basketball year for him. And I just don't know. It's an honor to be asked to play for Team USA, regardless. If you get asked, you should do it because you never know when you're not going to be asked again.
Right.
I mean, LeBron, not every player's LeBron. Like, they would bring LeBron back every single year if they could for, all these Olympics. If he would have, if he would have wanted to come back, they would have gladly had him back, But I don't know. How do you feel about Booker and Durant playing together this summer as well? Like, how do you feel? You think that's going to help them next year?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there were 2 of the 5 guys that closed the game out today. It was those 2,
Okay.
Curry, LeBron, and Embiid. Like, they won the game for them today. I think you've seen this in the past where these guys who have played together on teams, that's really helped them out so much moving forward. You look at a case, I mean, the 3 Celtics right now, I know Tatum is in and out of defending the matchup. I'm more than sure he will play in the gold medal game against France. There's no way he will not be involved in that game, especially with what France is going to throw out there. But I think that's going to be definitely a beneficial thing for them, just because it's, high stakes basketball they're playing. It's the highest stakes possible basketball they're playing, realistically. So for them to kind of just take this back to Phoenix, for Budenholzer, who's been in the Olympic system before.
Yep.
I think it's going to be beneficial for them. Yeah, man, I think this would be good. My curiosity is, what's the team up that comes out of this? Every time there's a Team USA where these guys kind of get to spend like their whole summer together, whether it's in training camps, whether it's in these things, like who are the guys that are going to be like
secret alliances are building?
Yeah,
I got a theory, but you got one first.
Bring it.
Go for it.
I think I'm a little split on who the second person is, but Ant will definitely be involved. Anthony Edwards will definitely be involved in the team up. He's the key to this.
I agree.
Someone else from this team is going to go team up with him. And if I had to guess, I would guess Bam, and I'm not sure if that means Ant going to Miami or Bam going to Minnesota, but if I had to guess, that'd be my team up that comes out of this.
I love it either way.
I would say Anthony Edwards seems like a perfect Miami Heat player.
I agree.
Feels like
Perfect.
He is that dude. Just chip on his shoulder, blue collar, gonna bust your ass. Make sure that you get the best out of him.
And Riley would give his left nut to have him too. Like he's like he would just absolutely do anything if like there's ever talk of Ant not being happy in Minnesota. He's like, it's too cold. I don't want to be here anymore. He's gonna be the first one on the phone calling him, and he's like, I've solved all of your problems.
I don't know Anthony Edwards personally, but it feels like he would enjoy living in Miami. Like that would be.
Yeah.
Oh God, I could see him with like a floral print shirt, like halfway unbuttoned down to here, hanging out in clubs. Like he would be the perfect Miami guy. So you heard it first here. Kevin Lynch.
It's definitely going to involve Anthony Edwards, and if I had to pick the second, I'll say Bam. I'll say the 2 of them are going to team up within the next 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
The
thing everyone's saying, and I totally agree. I would love for it to happen. Is everyone wants to see LeBron and Curry actually play a season together, just one. I would love nothing more than that because this has been so incredibly fun. I just have a hard time seeing Steph Curry play for the Lakers, and I have a really hard time seeing LeBron leave Anthony Davis. I just can't see it. Yeah. Don't be wrong. If it was good, the most likely the 2 would probably be Curry goes to the Lakers. I just don't see that happening because Golden State's going to do everything they possibly can to have him do his whole career there.
But see, and that's kind of the NBA thing. But if I like to do something like that, but if I was one of these stars and I was looking for somebody to recruit, I'd actually go recruit like Drew or Derek White. Like he'll do all the stuff I don't want to do and help me win that way. Those would be the ones I'd be trying to recruit to my team.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say right now that Drew Holiday might be the best perimeter defender in basketball.
I think so. I think Derek White might be the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just unreal. We'll get to some of the negatives real quick because I don't want to spend too much on this because, like I said, today was such an unbelievable moment and such a great game. I understand the conversation. I'm not going to go here and like pick apart Steve Kerr for not playing Jason Tatum, but in a game when you're down 15 and you need a guy who can score a lot of buckets very quickly, I think Jason Tatum would have made a lot of sense to play today, especially because Anthony Edwards wasn't very good today. Most of the time he's great, and he's been awesome. He wasn't good today.
So he played no minutes?
No minutes.
Whoa. Like, it's so wild to me. Your Team USA is just so flush with talent that a guy who just helped his team win a world basketball championship in America is being benched. Unbelievable.
I'm conflicted about it because I agree. There should be a space for Jason Tatum to get at least 10 minutes or something on this team. But also, like, the thing about Tatum is he is a great all-around player, but doesn't necessarily do one thing exceptionally well. Like, he's not one of the best defenders, not one of the best offensive players, not shooters, all that kind of stuff. So if they're going heavy one way or the other, like, I kind of understand it. Like, where I think he could play. So I'll say my one critical thing. I was not as high on Embiid's performance or today or at all, because like we say we brought in Embiid to match up against Joker and to guard Joker and everything. Did you all notice that LeBron was guarding Joker the entire fourth quarter?
Yep.
Like, Embiid couldn't even guard it. So if Embiid can't guard Joker, and then they got I think 6, 7, 8 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter, and they were almost always his guy that just beat him to an offensive rebound. And I'm like, so if he can't guard Joker and then he can't clean up the glass, like, why is he on the floor? I'd rather send Tatum out there and play small. If LeBron's going to guard Jokic, like, that's where I think you could have given Tatum some minutes, especially because Davis had 4 fouls early in the third quarter.
Dude, okay, one of my negatives is going to be officiating was horrible in this game. You mentioned the Davis 4 fouls. 2 of those, Jokic is literally hooking his arm on the offensive side of the ball, and Davis gets called for the foul. And I'm not saying this just because I love Anthony Davis. It's not my intent here, but it's like, come on, dude. Like, and you understand because it's FIBA officials. They, but they would pick and choose when they would let things go, and then when they would like have a tight whistle. End of the first half, last 4 minutes, they let them roll. They were just like, there was pretty physical moments, and they just let it out. And then third quarter, it's like they get right back to having a tight whistle, and that's really annoying. It makes me worried about the France game because FIBA officials against USA in Paris against the home country team for the gold medal. Sounds like Team USA is going to play nearly perfect at times. But I thought officiating was horrible down the stretch.
I thought, I didn't think it was a great officiating game, but so up until today, I've been very pleased with the refereeing throughout the FIBA and the Olympics and everything. I actually thought it's gone really well. And if you noticed, like, and I don't know if this was intentional or there just wasn't reason to, but like until today, the U.S. team wasn't talking or complaining to the officials almost at all, any of them. And you think about how much that happens in the NBA. Today, you could definitely see some reaction, and it was a tense game, so that's probably part of it too. But it's one of those where, like, just frankly, nobody on either team seemed to be happy with the officiating, and usually that means that they're kind of just being a little inconsistent.
Yeah, I appreciated Wade when they're like, "Well, that should have been this call," and he's like on Jokic, and he goes, "That guy's got 3 MVPs. He's earned the right to kind of get away with some calls." And dude, okay, I was going to make mention of this real quick about commentary. Noah Eagle has been fantastic the whole tournament. He has been great. What was it, the last game when they played Brazil? He like perfectly explained drop coverage on defense and why it's beneficial and why you do it and what it does for your team defensively that I've ever heard a coach or anyone ever explain before. And I was like, this guy's a play-by-play guy. Like, and he's explaining drop coverage to the audience at home and why you do it. And I was like, this is pretty great. I really thought that this was one of the worst games Steve Kerr ever coached, and he got bailed out by Durant, LeBron, and Curry.
How so? What specifically do you think he didn't do or should have done differently?
I thought defensive adjustments were horrible for a majority of the game. You knew damn well they were not. I mean, they were going to shoot threes the whole game, and I understand they're running those double screens to get guys open, but they were going under a majority of screens, or they were kind of just staying home. And against that team, you couldn't do that, and they were kind of just letting them get their moments. And look, I'm not knocking Serbia; they excellently executed their offense.
Mm-hmm.
They did a great job, but like even Spoelstra's like, when he's interviewed at halftime, he's like, we got to lock in on defense. He's like, we are not ourselves defensively right now. And I think that comes down to coaching. I think part of that comes down to the U.S. players definitely sandbagged it. But between that and his inability to kind of figure out like how, there's the rotations thing. And I appreciate that every time they like you heard from the huddle, it was he's giving them positive affirmation. He's telling them to keep their heads up. He's telling them they got this. But also it's kind of like, all right, dude, like, you're the Olympic coach for a reason. Get these guys going. Figure this out. Run the defense you're supposed to run because if you play defense, you're not losing.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I will play like devil's advocate a little bit. Like, I think part of that is playing against Jokic. And like you're going to get his team is going to get open threes because of kind of his passing ability and the fact that you have to collapse on him a little bit. And so like, again, I don't think US was playing amazing, obviously, but I think they were playing okay, not terrible. Yeah. I just think Serbia was like that hot and doing and just shooting just the lights out. And again, playing devil's advocate, I will give Kerr credit because when you've been doing the same kind of rotation over and over, and you've done everything to recruit all the best players in America, the best American players in the world, onto this team, he had the guts to go away from his rotation in the fourth quarter. Like you're my five guys, and we're going down, and he basically made no substitutions the fourth quarter except for going a little offense defense at the very end. And so that I gave him credit for. He identified the five guys that gave them the best chance to come back. I think they were down, was it 13 and going into the fourth quarter, something like that. And so like on the flip side, I will definitely give him credit for, because frankly, that adjustment was as big a key to them winning the game as anything, is just their substitution adjustment.
That I completely agree with. I think that come the fourth quarter, when he just went, these are the five guys, we're going to figure it out with these five. And it was awesome. It takes a lot to not play Anthony Edwards in the fourth quarter of a must-win basketball game. And,
or like to stick with Embiid, like I had some problem with Embiid. Like I didn't think Embiid played perfect, but it worked out, right? Like because the majority of the time, the better move has been to go to Anthony Davis and then sometimes even Bam. But he stuck with Embiid. He's like, this is the matchup we need Embiid for. We're sticking with him the whole fourth quarter, and it worked out. And so you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, you're right, man. You are. So there are with that, and I'm really excited. On the other end of things, we'll preview the game here in a second, but just want to touch real quick on France and Germany. That was a really, really good game. I know France had a lot of moments where they took double-digit leads, but Germany kept fighting back. I really thought Germany was still going to pull the game off at the end there, when they kind of cut it down to 2 points with a minute to go. Like I said, Dennis Schroeder has been incredible in this tournament. Franz Wagner has been awesome in this tournament. But I'm sure we all had Gershon Yabusele owning the tournament, right? I'm sure that if France finds a way to beat the USA on Saturday, they will find a way to give Wemby the player of the tournament. But really, for France, the reason they're where they're at is Yabusele. And it's not just today. Basically, since round one, he was in pool play. But since the second game of pool play on, he's been great for them. And you see this all the time, like we said, in the Olympics, where these guys are kind of come together. Daniel Tice is like an okay center in the NBA. In the Olympics, he's Arvydas Sabonis. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of the way it works out for him. But I thought that was a really fun game, a really good matchup. The U.S. really it's a good thing they got Brazil and they got Serbia. Not saying I think they would have lost any of those teams, but the fact that the other side of the bracket come the knockout rounds was way more difficult. I mean, France and Canada had to play each other to get a shot at Germany. So the fact that two of the teams that were going to give them the most fits got eliminated before they could even get to them was a pretty big sigh of relief.
I don't disagree. I came in thinking Canada would be the greatest U.S. rival and kind of went away from that. I just think U.S. matched up so well against them and had so much size. And I wasn't worried about a Canada matchup. I was actually worried about more like a Germany matchup because Schroeder's just so amazing international. So are both of the Wagners. Like the team in the tournament I was most worried about was actually Germany. Frankly, I was kind of surprised to see France win today.
I was too. I don't know. I mean, Wembanyama was awesome today, but I don't necessarily think he's been awesome the whole tournament. They really got bailed out against Japan. If you go back and watch Rui Hachimura's ejection,
oh yeah,
it's definitely like a favoritism call.
Yeah.
Which again kind of gives me concern about Saturday. But we'll talk about that here in a second. But I just can't see the situation where if you go head for head, like yes, they have Wembanyama, yes, they have Gobert, and they have Evan Fournier. And frankly, Ntilikina has been good. I've joked about Yabusele. He's been great. But they are probably going to have to play perfect to beat USA on Saturday if they don't get the refs' favoritism calls.
I didn't expect Wemby to be amazing in this tournament. I expected him to be really good. Yeah, he's 20 years old. I mean, and like I think he'll have some moments on Saturday against the US, but Jokic was literally the one player I was worried about that could go right up against this USA team and still and beat them and take them all on. He's the only player I was really truly worried about. And Wemby's not there. Wemby might be there the next Olympics, but not right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Is there I haven't seen the line yet, but I'm genuinely curious. See if I can pull it up real quick. For those who don't know, this is what France is kind of throwing out there, and to kind of get you ready for this game. Let me pull this up real quick. I did some notes, guys. I did some notes to kind of get the audience ready because Cincinnati doesn't know anything about professional basketball. So to put in context, the U.S. and Serbia won. It was 95-91 today. France won 73-69. So kind of gives you an idea. So like I said, so Yabusele, you got Schroeder. Yabusele literally led the team today in points, rebounds, and Wembanyama led the team in assists and blocks. Shocking. And then they had Isaiah Cordner. You guys know about Isaiah Cordner, right? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, me neither. Got to be the Olympics. But here's kind of the roster here. So Franklin Ntilikina, Nicholas Batum, who's been up and down to the play, Evan Fournier, Rudy Gobert, who I guess got surgery on his thumb, and then his coach said, no, that's not true, and that's hilarious. Bilal Coulibaly does not play for this team, really, at all. I don't think he played much today, if at all. So that's kind of shocking. And then they have this kid, Matthew Strazel. He's like, first off, I thought in the Olympics, the highest number you could wear was 19. And France goes out there and they got dudes wearing 85 and 99 and 32. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Because the U.S. our whole lives, like the highest number I remember is Carmelo Anthony wearing 15.
I think that's the U.S. thing, though. I think that's the
term. I figured that out. Chris Mullin wore 9.
Yeah,
it
was actually a really cool thing. There's a video out there. I'm sure you can find it. That they gave all the U.S. players like some kind of like backpack or duffel bag and it with their number on it. And then it had like an emblem of every Olympian that wore that number before on the US team. And some of the guys are just reading like, all the players that wore that number before and like kind of reacting to it. It was a really cool thing. And I like that. I think it's a really cool, unique tradition that they limit the numbers and kind of, make it like a tradition of guys wearing certain numbers.
Yeah, I do too. So obviously the thing that everyone's going to hop on is I imagine that France is going to play Gobert more than they have as long as he can. If his surgically repaired finger magically heals in time or not surgically repaired, I don't know. We got two conflicting stories from player and coach there. But realistically, like you said, the only player I thought could really scare them was Jokic and Giannis, and Giannis was long gone pretty early. And
Yeah, there was nothing around him for Greece.
Yeah.
Like he
So here, I agree. I think Wembanyama's going to have his moments. And I also think the fact that Wembanyama and LeBron are playing in the gold medal game is like the most cool, poetic basketball story you could possibly have.
Like a passing the torch moment.
Yeah, except for the U.S. is going to probably.
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't say that. But
oh, yeah.
My safest prediction for the game on Saturday is that Anthony Edwards is going to go Wemby hunting, just like trying to dunk on him, like and make it and create a viral clip in this gold medal game. Like I wish they had a line on that because I would do much better on that bet than I did on any of the bets today. I lost every single one of them today.
Yeah, I did not bet today. So I do have the line. The U.S. is favored 17.5 points in the gold medal game.
Yeah, they were 16.5 today.
The bronze game, Serbia is favored 2.5 over Germany. That might be worth taking some Germany action.
Yeah,
it might be worth taking some Germany action. I think Germany's a better team. The other one just has Jokic.
Yeah.
But do we all agree that if the U.S. does pull off what they should, does LeBron get tournament MVP? I think he
should.
He's been the best player.
He has.
Yeah.
He had a triple-double today in the Olympics in 2024.
The fourth
that's
of all time.
And that's the crazy thing is that, this game was so intense, and obviously the Steph thing and going against Jokic, like LeBron James, the most famous current basketball player in the world, had a triple-double and no one's talking about it. Not even us, like LeBron stans, are talking about it.
Yeah, that's what I said. So there's been 4 triple-doubles in Olympic history, and he has 2 of them.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
Wild.
Kind of insane.
Who are the other 2?
2 international guys.
Okay.
I think Oscar Schmidt had one, and then I can't remember the other one.
I was just like from Oscar Schmidt. Like I do like I know a lot about basketball. I never heard about him until I see he's on every single Olympic record apparently.
There was wasn't there 84. Like a ESPN doc about him? Yeah. I remember watching that. Yeah. Well, and I was like halfway expecting for you to be like, yeah, it's Marco Bellinelli or like some like rando like ex NBA player. Rudy Fernandez pulled it off a few years back.
Rudy Fernandez. Luis Scola.
Luis Scola. Perfect example.
Yeah. Remember Luis Scola was on that really good Pacers team that couldn't beat the Heat?
Oh, yeah.
Him, Jan Mahinmi, David West, George Hill.
I'm not remembering him on the page. I remember him from the Rockets.
That's where he's most remembered from. But he was a role player for that Pacers team. Like he backed up David West
in the twilight of his career.
Right? Yeah, he's playing big minutes against the Heat in the twilight. Of his career. Oh man, that's where you realize that they just didn't have enough to beat LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, right?
Not while they were all in their primes. No.
I did love that Pacers team. That's like when we get back to doing like our regular segments, we should do a deep dive into that Pacers team because they were awesome.
So good.
I want to kind of touch on a few things before we move on because we did get to. So I think we're all in agreement. U.S. wins on Saturday. I think they win, and I think LeBron gets tournament MVP.
Yeah,
I think he's going to have a signature moment of like this is his last Olympic game. Like we know he's not going to play in 28, even if he's still playing in the league somehow. He's already said he's like, if I'm still playing, I will not be in LA because I live in LA and I will avoid all that traffic. In 28.
I think Saturday. So I don't know why I've been thinking about this, but I'm relating today. Definitely not the same thing, but like to the Miracle on Ice in 1980, where it was this amazing, in that sense, amazing upset, in this sense, amazing comeback. And like, but people kind of forget, like, I think in 20 years, people will think today was the gold medal game. Like there will be a documentary about it and they won't realize it. Same thing with the Miracle on Ice. And then the Miracle on Ice, when they played in the gold medal game, they actually like were down a goal right away and then came back and were leading from the first period on. that's kind of what I see. Because France could come out, hit some shots. U.S. is down in the first quarter, but have control of the game by halftime or third quarter and kind of run away from there.
Yeah, I'm sure Evan Fournier is going to have some insane threes that we're going to be like, what the hell? And then it's going to. One of my least favorite basketball players of all time, I'm pretty sure. He's not enjoyable ever, no matter what team he was on. That Magic team didn't like him. That Knicks team didn't like him. Definitely didn't like him on the Celtics, obviously. So yeah, just not a fun dude. Not a very likable dude. Remember the Knicks gave him a ton of money, and now it's like I think the Knicks are still paying him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal. Women's team, so they're in the semis tomorrow. I've had a lot of fun watching them. They have not been as dominant as I thought they would, and I'm saying this, and they've won games by about 24, 26 at times. But I've really enjoyed watching them. I don't know if I'm just saying this because she's my favorite player, and maybe I'm being biased, but I for sure would start Sabrina Ionescu the rest of the tournament because, and look, she's been awesome in that second team, her and Kelsey Plum. But I think she's just been she hit that 3 in the one game in the last game and shushed the crowd because I was like, this rules. But I think they'll be fine. Obviously they're going to win. I just thought they'd be winning by more.
So talking of the women's game, and this is more relating to the WNBA, right? Like I have a theory that obviously the WNBA is becoming more popular than ever. A lot of that is like the, Caitlin Clark and other young players and everything. But I think what might have the staying power, I think this slightly older generation of players, mostly a lot of the people on the Olympic team, hate the rookies now. And they hate the amount of things. And I think there's going to be real animosity about from the women who are kind of currently in their prime versus the women who just came into the league, maybe will come into the league in the next year or two. And that there's going to be a lot of really intense rivalries that come from that.
I agree.
That's good though.
It is 100% agree.
That's good. They need that. They need that. That's great. Make it. I want if the players aren't going to hate each other in the NBA, doing it in the WNBA will be fine. That'll be fine. I want to see players just not like each other and just try to go and cut each other's throat each night. That's what I want as a fan for any sports. And we've lost it for so long.
Yeah, because I think, and this is mostly the media, trying to build a rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. I don't think that's a rivalry. I think it's them and their peers is the rivalry against a lot of these women that are on the Olympic team. All these women that are in their, late 20s, early 30s that are kind of the prime and been the face of the WNBA that frankly have a little bit of animosity towards them because they're getting more attention than they did when they first came out and everything. So I think that's going to be the rivalry between the generation in their prime now and the generation that's coming right behind them.
Yeah. What's going to be like next year when Paige Beckers comes in and everyone just tweets her for no reason.
Right. Right.
I will say I'm very glad the women's coach is not Gino Auriemma anymore because I do not like Gino Auriemma. He wins all the time. He's great. He's probably the greatest women's coach besides Pat Summitt of all time. But he's also very annoying. And his players love him, though, so I can't say anything too bad about him. So they play tomorrow. If you're listening on Thursday, they have Australia at 11:30 in the morning for their chance to get to the medal. They're going to win. They'll play the winner of France and Belgium, who play later that day.
Was it Belgium that played him closest?
Belgium was awesome.
Close game.
Them. Yeah. I was listening to Carmelo Anthony's podcast is kind of incredible.
Better or worse than Jeff Teague's compared
worse.
To
worse. That's because Jeff Teague is the greatest NBA podcaster of all time.
It's amazing.
But so Melo had Sue Bird on this week. And they were both talking about, they both covered the Olympics together at the same time. They had their first Olympics together and came up together. And what two better people to talk about playing for Team USA and kind of compare contrast. Hearing Sue Bird break down the Olympic team and what works about them was so cool, and just kind of understanding having to take your role in this conversation we've been having about Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton, these guys. And she's talking about Brittany Griner. She's like, look, Brittany Griner's going to come in the second unit, and everyone's going to think they have a shot until she walks on the floor, and then everyone knows they're done. And she's like, she's like, no matter who you go against, she's like, Japan did everything they possibly could. The tallest person they had was nowhere close to her.
Yeah.
The pictures on that are hilarious, by the way. So I thought that was cool. I'm kind of randomly having thoughts here, kind of get you guys' thoughts on them before we move on. Durant.
Mhm.
Does he have to win Saturday, or is he officially taking Carmelo Anthony's throne as the greatest Olympic player of all time for the U.S. for U.S. basketball?
I kind of think he has, and honestly, I think it helps. I think it helps that he's the significantly better NBA player too, and that just like even though they're not related, they kind of are in your mind. You can't help it. Yeah. So I think it's already a done deal.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think people are gonna. I mean, Carmelo Anthony's one big tick. He never won an NBA title or anything, but his one big thing was he was a great Olympian. He won,
that's his
their leading scorer. It's his legacy and everything. But I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna remember that 20 years from now.
Yeah, well, the thing about Melo is Melo was so much better on the USA team than he was in the NBA.
Yeah,
and not saying he was a terrible NBA player, but it was just like he was built for international basketball, where Durant is just really good at both. I think it's already a done deal.
I think they're the two best that have done it.
Yeah,
and it's so funny we're talking about the fact that Melo's better in Olympic basketball than NBA basketball, considering he was at his peak, a top 5 player in the league. And we're like, but he's a better Olympian, which is kind of wild.
I mean, the Knicks traded literally their whole team for him once.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that trade kind of gets some like crap, but I think we all would have made that trade in that circumstance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was the top 5 player.
Yeah.
And that 12-13 Knicks team, the one that lost to the Heat in the playoffs, they were awesome. They were super good.
Were.
The only argument about this trade, and we could go down a rabbit hole here, is like he was going to be a free agent in 3 months. Was it worth trading the whole team when you could just get him at the end of the season? And because everybody knew he wanted to go to New York. So that's really the criticism, is to make that trade mid-season when you could have just signed him as a free agent, knowing he wanted to come there. They
had a dumb salary though for him. I mean, either way, they were going to have to get rid of,
It's true.
That's in there amongst the dumb trade banter I always hear. Like, well, the Nuggets totally won that trade. I'm like, what do the Nuggets have to show post Melo, pre Jokic? Like, what's their legacy in this time frame?
Nothing.
It's like the Pelicans fans who had to be like, well, we definitely won the Anthony Davis trade. I'm like, on what? Where? What do you have to win that trade?
If anyone is out actually saying that, they need to have their head checked, because it's like Anthony Davis won an NBA championship.
Yeah. He's about to win his second gold medal.
Yeah, like, come on.
Yeah,
it's not even an argument.
It's so stupid to me. We did get our Christmas Day games officially announced while we were.
Oh yeah, we did. Let's do it. Let's talk about them. I just saw that.
Well, can I finish on the Olympics before you do that? I got one basketball thing. I got a curveball for you guys. I'll say something. I want your reaction to it. I think one of the things that is like the things that has embarrassed me the most to be an American is the 3-on-3 basketball performance in this Olympics.
Oh wow!
And we have more white Americans on that team than we do in the entire NBA. What is happening? Like, you can't find a better
Jimmer Fredette
team to that. We have a whole league of ex-NBA guys playing 3-on-3 basketball. Like,
for Ice Cube.
That is literally, I think that is the worst planning, preparation, execution of a team I've ever seen is the American 3-on-3 in this tournament. And it's actually not just this tournament. It's been going on for several Olympics that they are always terrible at 3-on-3.
Also,
I'm embarrassed by it.
Who wants to watch that? Who's like, oh, 3-on, this is fun. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's like,
you know what? I would if it was the best 3 guys from Ice Cube's league. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
You
Like
wouldn't,
Joe Johnson.
yeah, you wouldn't watch like Beasley is on there. Who else is who are the other good guys? Joe Johnson, yeah, is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff
Yeah.
Teague's in that league.
Yeah.
I would 100% like that should be the whole point of Ice Cube's league. You play a tournament and the winning team gets to represent the country in the Olympics. Like
love
done.
it.
I just made $1 billion.
love it.
Like
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, the
I love
women's team even has like Haley Van Lith at least, you know. So it's like,
yeah, at least it's people. I've heard of the women on the team, like the men's team, other than Jimmer Fredette, who like got hurt and couldn't play. I understand, but so that was so frustrating. Like I understand the 3-on-3 game's not great anyway, but like that was just. I think that was the most embarrassing performance of the Olympics by the USA, and second place isn't close.
could we have at least brought Chase Budinger over from the volleyball team to play in a 3-on-3? Like, I'm sure he probably can still do some sort of basketball activity.
Might have had
Sure.
better success. Or everybody's complaining about it. Like send Jason Tatum over there to get some run.
Him and Halliburton.
Exactly.
Shit would be over with.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a basketball podcast. I just want to bring that up because it was really on my mind. So thanks for appeasing me.
I got you, fam. I got you. All right, so Christmas Day games, real quick. Spurs Knicks kick off the day at the Garden. Minnesota at Dallas. Philadelphia at Boston. That's the game of the day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
LA at Golden State. That's like the
Again.
nostalgia game.
Again.
Haven't we done that 20 times before?
And then Denver at Phoenix is the final game. The game that everyone's like done with basketball for the day, and they're like, whatever, I
Yeah.
don't need to watch this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of a mediocre slate this year. Not excited.
Yeah.
I actually like. I'm with you on the Lakers Golden State, even though I love LeBron and Steph. Like,
Same.
No, we've done it a million times. So whatever. Like, I love the Dallas Minnesota matchup. That was what stuck out the most to me. Like Luka versus Ant on Christmas Day. Like, that's probably the like lunchtime-ish game or like just post lunch the game when a lot of
That's
TV
the one
people
everyone's gonna be watching, really.
Yeah. So I like that. I like that a lot. I like that they worked in Wemby in the early spots, like get him on the slates, but like not in a prime time thing. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that slate.
I do love Philadelphia Boston. I think that's gonna be really fun. I think that I am kind of feeling like I might put money on the Sixers to win the East. I think I'm getting there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I don't know if I'm confident they're going to do it, but it's looking more and more nicer. The more you hear about this Porzingis news, it sounds like it's not going very well, his recovery. And I don't know how much I trust the Knicks when the tallest guy on the team that's going to be playing because Mitchell Robinson will be hurt. It's going to be 6'9". So a little optimistic about the Sixers.
I'm with you. I like the Knicks though, because all those guys are going to play crazy hard in the regular season. I don't know for sure that about Philadelphia. Boston might kind of relax or take their foot off the gas after last year. Like, I think the Knicks are the most likely to like just play their guys all the time and like try and get the number one seed. Like, so, I mean, it's not a bad idea, like, especially if you get good odds, but if I had to do it, not looking at the odds, the Knicks would probably be the value play for me.
I'm basically just waiting for the baseball season to end because in February I put money on LA to lead the league in stolen bases, and so I'm just gonna hedge it. I'm just gonna hedge it and use it for basketball bets for until the money runs out.
The Reds season's still going on.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's like it's not dead yet.
Oh, okay. I remember the last point I was going to make on the Olympics before we get out of here. Going back to the Carmelo Anthony Super podcast, and they were talking about everything. One thing Carmelo Anthony said that I really think Steve Kerr and staff need to bring back is that when those guys committed in 04, and obviously we know how 04 went, they had to agree to a 3-year commitment to the USA. So 05, they did a mini camp. 06, they did a camp. 07, they had FIBA where they bring Kobe in. 08 to qualify for the Olympics. In 08, they win gold. So I think they need to bring that back. I think that's something that they need because all these teams. So like one of the reasons Serbia gave them so many fits was those guys have played together since they were like teenagers. And one of these like Germany, those guys played together for a long time. France, Those guys played together a long time. Wemby didn't play in FIBA last year, but it was because he went to summer league. But he's played with a lot of those guys. And France is only going to get better. If you looked at this last NBA draft, say what you will about it, it was not a great draft. Those dudes probably going to rock. Zachary Risacher is probably going to be awesome in the Olympics, no matter how he plays for the Hawks, which I think he's going to stink. But yeah, so I think I'm on board with this. I think that, like, because you know the reason that Halliburton's sitting the bench is that he's going to be the guy in 28 that's going to be like running the offense. He's going to be the point guard. They're kind of grooming to kind of be the guy.
Yeah, like you can see him and maybe Tatum. Like those are the guys for the
Bam.
next picks.
Yeah,
maybe Bam.
Ooh.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we'll fill in the rest of the roster. Cooper Flag. Let's see. I don't want Brandon Ingram ever again on an Olympic team. Donovan Mitchell? Does Donovan Mitchell play in 28?
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
He'll be 33? So he won't be too old.
yeah. I don't know. It's so tough. Like 4 years. I mean, some of the guys might not be in the league yet, or like you know.
Yeah,
True.
Evan
Mobley? Does Evan Mobley play?
Maybe. I mean, the U.S. is severely lacking big guys. I mean, who's the fourth best American center besides the three that are on the Olympic team? And Embiid, it's kind of a coin flip if he's actually American or not. But
I did appreciate when he like kind of explained why he wanted to play for the American team.
No, I did too. And we're the land of opportunity. Like I have zero problem with it. But yeah, like who's the next guy that's coming behind them for big guys for America? Like I don't know if they're on the radar yet.
Yeah, I don't know if Derek Lively, U.S. American center, gets me fired up for an Olympic tournament. Now, an Evan Mobley, Jalen Duren, that might get me excited because those dudes are going to want to like run through a wall to be on that team.
Yeah, maybe. I think you're right though. You need to bring back somebody with experience, one of the big guys. Like so, Bam's probably the best candidate, just age wise and desire wise. He seems like he always wants to play on this team.
Yeah, because I think Davis will be 37 come those Olympics.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well, before we start talking about the next Olympics, we should probably wrap this up. Thanks for hanging out. Definitely appreciate it. Again, so happy that we got to talk about one of the greatest U.S. basketball games of all time tonight on the show. It was awesome. Kevin, always appreciate having you come by and hang out with us.
Absolutely.
So definitely appreciate you. We're going to wrap this up. Be sure to check out everything here on the Riverfront, whether it's our Red shows, the Bengals, or us dorks here talking NBA basketball. We're the place for you. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out all of our podcasts on your app subscription of choice. On behalf of Sean, on behalf of Kevin, this is Tim Daniel. And hopefully next week we're talking about a gold medal. So see you all.